Hi guys, today I'm hosting Friendsgiving and I'm prepping 5 healthy and delicious Thanksgiving recipes that are simple, they're farm to table, and they're super delicious and nutritious. On the menu today, we have a golden roasted turkey with herb butter, creamy whipped sweet potatoes with olive oil and cinnamon, maple Dijon Brussels sprouts, lemon garlic green beans, and a gluten-free apple pie crumble for dessert. I'm serving 9 guests tonight, so I'm gonna walk you guys through everything that I prepped in advance and even a few hosting tips to keep it all stress-free. This Thanksgiving, I wanted to make all of the classics that we know and love just a little bit healthier. Everything in this video is made 100% from scratch, and I curated the entire menu around local and in-season ingredients from my farmer's market. For me, food has always been about more than just eating. It's about being intentional with what we're putting into our bodies and choosing ingredients that truly nourish us. There's something so special about picking out fresh produce and supporting local farmers and turning simple ingredients into a meal that brings people together. And so I hope this video reminds you that the holidays can be nutritious. Let's get into the recipes. The star of the show is the turkey, and I always used to think that cooking a turkey was so complicated, but it's actually way easier than I ever thought and can turn out super buttery and delicious. I defrosted this for 3 days and then I just patted it dry with a paper towel and put some salt on it, put some pepper on it, and put it back in my refrigerator overnight. If you're looking for a turkey this season with no hormones and no antibiotics that is humanly raised, then check out ButcherBox. It is my favorite place to get all meat, and they have organic turkeys. I have this amazing discount here where you can get a free turkey. I'm going to leave the link in the description. I also wanted to prep my herb butter, so I left 2 sticks of butter on the counter to get a little bit room temperature so that I could easily mix them in a bowl. And then I threw in some garlic, I threw in some fresh rosemary, and then I threw in some salt and some pepper, and I just mixed this up. We're going to be covering our turkey in this, and so we want to make sure that we make enough of this. I truly feel like the secret to a buttery and delicious, perfect golden brown turkey is to make sure that you're cooking with enough butter. And so I really didn't hold back here, and I even used 2 additional sticks of butter while I was making my turkey, but I'll talk more about that in a second. I basically just put this in a little bit of plastic wrap and wrapped it up super tight and just put it in the refrigerator overnight. The morning of my Friendsgiving, I was ready to start prepping my turkey to be cooked. So I took it out of the refrigerator and I let it sit on my counter for about an hour so that it could become a little bit more room temperature. While that was resting, I just chopped up all the things that I was going to stuff in my bird. I did the classics like garlic, onion, lemon, apple, and a little bit of rosemary. To help the butter stick to the turkey a little bit better, I poured a little bit of olive oil on the turkey and then I spread the butter on. It's really important that you cook your turkey on a rack with a roasting pan underneath. A lot of stuff will drip out of your turkey and you do not want that dripping into your oven. I also poured a little bit of bone broth in here just to make sure that my turkey didn't get dry. I started my turkey at 425 and then after 45 minutes, I put some butter on it and I changed the temperature to 325. As soon as I noticed my turkey getting some color, I lightly put some tinfoil over it just so that it wasn't going to burn. My turkey was about 12.5 pounds, so I cooked it for around 3.5 hours. The key to getting a super juicy turkey is to let it sit for 45 to 60 minutes after it comes out of the oven. The main thing that you're looking for is for the internal temperature of the turkey to be at least 170 degrees Fahrenheit. This turkey was so buttery and juicy and delicious, and the herbs really brought out such a nice flavor. Every time I go to a restaurant and they have those crispy Brussels sprouts, I always get so excited. And so I wanted to make a Thanksgiving take on crispy Brussels sprouts. You just want to chop your Brussels sprouts in half, and then I also chopped up 2 shallots. For the glaze, you're going to add olive oil. You're going to add some maple syrup, some brown sugar, a little bit of sea salt, and then a little bit of pepper. It's really important to not add too much Dijon mustard here. I did that one time and it really ruined the flavor of the Brussels sprouts. So a little bit goes a long way. And then you're just going to put out all of your Brussels on a tray, make sure that they're all face down, and then sprinkle your shallots on top and then just pour the drizzle over everything. And then you're just gonna throw this in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes at 400. I ended up topping this with pomegranate seeds as well as pistachios, and both just brought out such an amazing flavor. Over the years, sweet potato soufflé has always been my favorite thing at Thanksgiving, but today I wanted to make a healthier version of that, so I just took some purple sweet potatoes. I peeled them and then boiled them in salted water for 15 minutes. The purple sweet potatoes ended up being perfect because they were a lot sweeter than regular sweet potatoes, which really made them feel like the traditional sweet potato soufflé. After I strained these potatoes, I threw them in my blender with a little bit of milk, some olive oil to make them super creamy, a little bit of sea salt, some cinnamon, and also nutmeg. If you're going to make these in a blender, just make sure that you only blend for like 3 to 5 seconds and then do this repetitively about 10 to 15 times. This purple sweet potato soufflé was so delicious, and it had all my favorite cozy fall flavors in there without being too sweet or overpowering. I ended up topping it off with a little bit more rosemary and some walnuts. A lot of people don't know this, but green beans are filled with fiber, and they're filled with vitamin B, vitamin K, and even vitamin C. I feel like green beans don't get enough credit because they're so easy to make. All you want to do is slice off the end of the green bean, the end that was attached to the plant, and then you're just going to put your green beans in some boiling water for 3 minutes. And then after 3 minutes, you're just going to give them an ice bath. I ended up putting some butter and a little bit of garlic on my cast iron and then throwing my green beans back on there, adding some lemon juice, and that added such an amazing lemony flavor. I also topped this with a little bit of lemon zest as well as some slivered almonds. I wanted to make a healthier version of the apple desserts that we all grew up with, using in-season apples and simple ingredients and a homemade crumble that still tastes like the holidays. Making dough from scratch is so much easier than I thought, and it's so good because you know exactly what's in your dough. There's no weird preservatives or mystery ingredients. Pie dough is very different from bread dough, and so you're adding tablespoons of ice water and then you're continuing to mix it until the dough sticks together enough but isn't too sticky. And so I poured mine on the counter after doing about 6 tablespoons of ice water, and I ended up adding about 3 more tablespoons. I was just looking for the dough to stay together when I pushed it together, and then I wanted to be able to cut it in half. I took both sides of the dough and wrapped them in plastic wrap, and I put them in the refrigerator overnight. You really only need to put them in the refrigerator for an hour or 2, but I was just gonna wait and cook this the next day. I picked out 5 different kinds of apples, and I did this because I wanted the apple crumble to have a lot of different flavors. So I had Fuji apples, I had Granny Smith apples, I also had a few other locally grown apples that were recommended to me. And then you want to slice your apples pretty thin, and then you're going to cut those a little bit smaller. Next, you're mixing in some sugar, you're mixing in some cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg, you're also mixing in some sea salt and some vanilla extract. You want to squeeze about an entire lemon on these apples and let it sit for at least an hour. The lemon is going to draw out all the liquid from the apples so that you don't get a super runny apple crumble. And then you're gonna take the liquid that drained from the apples and put it on your stove for just a few minutes, and it's going to caramelize. All of the water is going to evaporate, and then you can pour that right back on your apples for so much added flavor. I took my dough out of the refrigerator, I rolled it a little bit, and then I just started pulling it into chunks. I am going to just be baking these chunks with a little bit of sugar, some brown sugar, and a little bit of cinnamon on here. These chunks already have a lot of butter in them, so there's no need to put any type of oil or more butter on them. These little chunks are so good, and I probably could have eaten this even without the apples. They're just delicious. But of course, I poured my apples first into my container, and then I poured the chunks on top. I ended up serving this with vanilla ice cream, and it was so delicious. Timing is everything when you're hosting people for dinner, and you want to make sure that all of your food is warm when everyone is ready to eat. I had everything ready to go before my guests came, and then I just turned my oven on 175 degrees Fahrenheit and let everything warm in the oven for about an hour. I left the foil on everything that I made so that I knew it wasn't going to burn, but it was going to just get nice and warm. This made it so stress-free for me as the host, where I could still chat and hang out with my company, but also make sure that everything was warm and ready for us to enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you in the next video.